Good morning and welcome to this weekly market update from MRC Markets. Today is the 15th of October 2013. What we'll do today is go through some technical analysis on Euro Dollar, Cable, Dollar Yen, Dollar CAD and Gold. Just going to review what's been going on over the last sort of week or so in the markets in terms of technical analysis, and give some sort of outlook for the week ahead. And basically just review the setups that are in play, the interesting ones, the interesting setups that are in play, and what I'm personally going to be looking out for in the week. Hopefully it will be of some use. For any new followers out there, we have 3 moving averages in each of these charts. The red one is a 50 simple moving average, the purple is a 100 simple, and the gold is a 200 simple moving average. And we're not making any trade calls recommendations in this video. You trade at your own risk. If you could please read our full disclaimer on our website, which is www.mrcmarkets.com. Okay, then let's have a look at the Euro Dollar. So this is the weekly chart. We'll briefly have a look at the weekly because, I mean, we're doing these charts every week, so we're doing these videos every week, so it's quite a long-term chart. I mean, it's pretty much the same every time you look at it because obviously it's just one candle each week. But what is quite interesting, I just need to change the colour of these fibs. Give me 2 seconds. Just make them blue. For the purpose of this video, we just used the in terms of the big retracement levels, just look at the 50% and the 61.8. As it's a sort of healthy retracement area, quite a popular one, and in my opinion, I think they're the best 2 levels. So let's just use those ones. Okay, and so yeah, in terms of this weekly chart, this is an interesting fib, I think, which is kind of in play at the minute. In fact, let's just have a brief look at the monthly chart. This is an interesting fib area, I think, because we have had a close above this. Obviously, it's the new month. We're now in October. We've had a monthly candle close above this 50% retracement, so the sellers tried to come in up around here actually. Previously we had a bit of a fake out because it closed above this retracement level, and then it got sold off. So I'm just going to change colour of this as well. We then got sold off at this sort of 136s. That's kind of what's happening now actually, so we could have a bit of deja vu here, where you can see, if you flip it now to the weekly, this is the key sort of level really, this 136.50s. We didn't have a weekly candle close above that. You can see we just pretty much tested it there and it started to come back down. So in terms of this weekly, I mean, last week's weekly candle, we had a bit of lower wick off this 50%, so we came and we closed above here, and then this 50% level acted as a decent support here. So that's also a key level to look out for, this one spot 34.90. You can see that on the daily chart there, it's acting as a decent bit of support, and that, I mean, it's good that we've just gone from the weekly to the daily. It's flowed quite well in terms of using that level, so you can see that 50% level. You know, if you flip it to the daily, you can see why we're starting to bounce up here really. And it's all about this level here is 134.90. We could, to make it easier, we'll just say 135s. The round numbers have been really good on the year, I think, recently, and on cable as well, just using the 135, 136, and then you can also use the 50 pip increment as well, so maybe 135.50 as a sort of mid-range here. As you can see now, if you look on the 4-hour chart, we just flipped it to the 4-hour there, this 134.50 is acting as decent support. It acted as decent support around here last week, and around here it acted as decent resistance. So it's a key line in the sand here, this 134.50s. Currently it's holding. We've got this 50 SMA running through here as well, as you can see on this 4-hour chart. So that's sort of capping it at the minute. In terms of the daily, it has been very, very choppy these last few weeks really, very, very choppy, just pretty much going in between this 135s and 136s sort of chop zone area, with 135.50 is the mid-range level here. So that's all that's really going on in terms of euro. I mean, we spoke about the last few weeks' videos, spoke about this fib here, this played out very nicely off the 50%. So the next fib that I'm looking at personally, and a lot of people will be looking at it as well, will be this one here. So we've taken that low from that 50% bounce, and we've extended the high to the most recent high here on this daily chart. And the 50% on here comes in at around 1.3375. And you've also got the moving averages around here as well. You've got the 50 SMA. Also, a key level to look out for on this daily is this one here, which is the 1.3420. That's a previous high, and also coincides with these sort of highs around here as well. So yeah, that's the focus on euro dollar really, even on the 4-hour chart. Actually, one other thing to look out for, I don't want to make this chart too messy, but this fib here, from those, that's on the 4-hour, from the highs to the lows there, bam, coming off with a 61.8% retracement and starting to grind lower. So it looks, I think it will grind lower, to be honest with you. I reckon we'll get below this, and it'll come down to around this 135 area, and then maybe even that weekly 50, this big weekly 50%. We'll take it off for now because it is quite a long term move. That this is how I'd keep my chart set up for the week ahead. So you've got a few interesting levels there, but it looks like it's going to grind low. Yesterday's daily candle quite bearish really, with that big upper wick on that. Yeah, decent upper wick on that, and I mean that's technically a bearish candle, but it has to get below this 135.50. So be an interesting week for euro. Let's look at the pound versus the US dollar. This is the weekly chart. The last couple of weeks candles have been quite bearish. I mean, it's been due a retracement. It really has been a huge move upwards here from 147s up to 162s, and there's no surprise that we're starting to retrace really. So yeah, I think it still will retrace, to be honest with you. If you look on the weekly chart, this would be the fib that I'd look out for. Really obvious one, drawn from the lows of the year to the highs. And the 50% comes in around the 1.5536s, but of course you've got these three moving averages slicing right through here. So, and also this big high around here, that'll be a big support. I wouldn't be surprised to see some interesting price action happening around that level. So keep an eye on that. Also the 200 SMA. Looks like it will be some confidence around that. If you flip to the daily, it's still the same fib. So you can still see that that same Fibonacci retracement set up there from the low or the high of the chart on this daily chart. If you want to look at the smaller ones, I mean this was the first small one we spoke about here. That worked very nicely, straight off the 50% rotated high, and if you extended your fib to the next swing high and took the swing low, just got a front line off the 50% there, extended high, and now this will be the new high and this will be the new low, and it hasn't quite come down to the 50% yet, but that would be the same fib really. So a lot of people, it's probably a 38.2 bounce, to be honest, but what it is coming off of here is 1.5940. So that's the key line in the sand for cable. Currently you can see it on the 4-hour as well, some interesting price action on that. But yeah, if it wants to grind lower, then we need to get a daily candlestick close below this level. Also, what's quite interesting here, I think, is this 61.8% line coincides with these highs around here. So that could be a very, very interesting level there. Big resistance that we drew in that pink line there coincides with 61.8 there. So keep an eye on that if we do get lower. In terms of the shorter term chart in the 4-hour, it's making a lower highs here. I'm just going to change the colour of that so it stands out a bit more. So you can see we're making lower highs here, so we've got a nice little trend line resistance going on at the minute. That's playing out quite nicely, so keep an eye out on that. But yeah, that's pretty much it really in terms of the cable trend line support as well. Keep an eye on that. So it's in a sort of triangular formation. Actually, what is interesting, this trend line, this trend line that we have here, it extends all the way down to the bottom here. So this is still technically very, very in play. A big thing to keep an eye on here is this trend line support. It's still holding. If it wants to get lower, then it needs to have a daily candlestick close below that trend line, in my opinion, for it to start to break down. But currently it's still in a nice uptrend, and it's coming off of this 1.5944s. Dollar yen on the weekly, it's still chopping around in between this sort of triangular formation here. I mean, it's very obvious to see there. In last week's weekly candle, nice and bullish there, lovely bullish candle, a nice bit of lower wick, decent upper body. So this week I'd expect it to grind higher. On the daily chart, you can see it has been sort of, well, yesterday was a nice bullish candle. You can see lovely 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bullish candles in a row. You can see we have the 100-day moving average here capping it currently. So if we're going to grind higher and break out of this this triangular formation, or pennant, I suppose you can call it, then we need to get some daily candle close. Well, we need to get a daily candle close above the 100-day moving average, in my opinion, to break out of this. And of course, it will need to close above that as well. For any short-term players looking at, so in terms of the bias, then I'd say dollar yen's been very bullish. In terms of the technicals, also in terms of the fundamentals as well, really. But we won't go too much into that, so we like to focus on technicals in this. So in terms of a bounce, this will be the fib I'll be looking at. This 50% here comes in at around 97.62, and you can see lovely candle formation there as well. You can see that pretty much to the pip there, came off that 50%, and it rotated higher. So previous support as well, it's a nice bit of confluence. So this is the 4-hour chart, so if it comes back down to that 50% level, it should be an interesting level. Also got the 50 SMA there as well, so a nice bit of confluence going into that as well. In terms of the 1-hour chart, it'd still be the same setup for me. I wouldn't change any. I wouldn't be looking at any of these shorter term dips. It's a bit too, not that clear really. And the best ones are the most clear and obvious ones, in my opinion. So keep an eye on that. That has a big level, that 97.62. As you can see, pretty much to the pip there, it bounced up, and also acts as resistance here. So key line in the sand there for me on dollar yen. But of course, it's still got a long way to go. Yeah, you can see it's currently getting supported by this 50 SMA around here. Dollar CAD. It's all about this trendline support still on the dollar CAD. This is the daily. Still holding quite well. It's kind of in no man's land here around the minute. Although I think this fib actually is playing quite well. Yeah, it's this one here. Off these 61.8s here. That's the previous swing high to the lows there, off the 61.8, and it's starting to rotate towards the downside. We spoke about this in last week's video. This 200-day moving average was holding it, and we get a nice bit of rotation up towards it. So it looks like it wants to come back down to it, to be honest with you. So keep an eye out on that. In terms of the shorter term charts, 4-hour, it's still the same move really. I wouldn't be looking at any fibs from this low to the high, as I'd rather buy off this trendline support, in all honesty. So yeah, that's pretty much it on the dollar CAD. That's the forex time. So if we look at gold, gold's just in a slow grind lower really. We spoke about this fib setup in last week's video, but we've got a daily candle close below this now. So if we get any bounce up, then this 61.8 should act as decent resistance. It already has actually in yesterday's trading. Let's see it clear on the daily actually. Yesterday's trading, we got a bounce up and it's sold off. So that's the sort of resistance now. Previous support turned into resistance. Classic technicals there. And it's all about this really just trend line here. This trend line resistance. It's capping it. Sellers have come in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times there on the daily chart, and it's just really capping it there. So that's the focus for gold. Okay, then that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If there's any other charts that look like you want to have a look at next week, then feel free to post under the YouTube video, or send us a tweet to our Twitter feed, which is at MRC_markets. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of the week trading, and I'll catch you next week. Thanks.